Hello friend, welcome to Banquiz. I am Anandam. Friend, in this video lecture, I am going to deal with a business letter. Okay, but before I proceed, let me tell you that a letter may be formal or it may be informal. Friend, an informal letter is a letter that is to be written to one's relatives, one's friend. Okay, and so formalities are not maintained. If you maintain formalities in the informal letter, it means you deserve fewer marks. Okay, but a formal letter is that in which formalities are maintained. You have not to use unnecessary words. You have to keep yourself to the point. Okay, a business letter comes under the formal letter. It is to be written to the editor. It may be written to the SP, DSP, or to the bank manager. Okay, now friend, let us come to know of how you can frame a business letter. Okay, and what are the constituent parts of a business letter. Let us come to know of each in detail. Okay, friend, the first constituent part of a business letter or a formal letter is to put the date. Okay, and following the date you have to keep the reference, and in the third place comes an address, and in the fourth place comes the subject, and then salutation part of the letter comes, and then body is to be dealt with properly, and then complimentary clause, and then signature comes, and finally if you want to enclose some particular documents in connection with the letter, you should put everything under the title enclosure. Okay, now friend, let us discuss each and everything in detail. The first is the date. Friend, the date is to be mentioned variously in your letter. Clear? Date can be written as, suppose it is 5th of April today, then you should write on the letter as 05/04/2022. Okay, and the next way of mentioning the date is 5th April 2022. And the third way of expressing the date or writing the date is April 5 April 5 2022. Friend, this one is said to be the American way of mentioning the date, and this is highly recommended. This is suggestible, so you should mention the date in this way. Okay, so friend, this is all about mentioning the date. Hope you have already got it. Now comes a reference. Friend, in the reference part, you just refer to the person you are writing to. Okay, such suppose you have been instructed to write to the bank manager, then you write to then the bank manager. Okay, the bank manager. So this kind of description is called the reference part of the letter. Okay, and you must bear in mind that the two must not be followed by any comma. If you put a comma, then this will be a punctuation error. So this is all about the reference part of the letter. Now friend, let us discuss the third constituent part of a business letter. Friend, everything has been made orderly, so in an orderly manner you continue putting the description of each and every thing displayed on the monitor of yours. Okay, now in the third place comes the address. Then as I have told you that in the reference part, what you write to the manager. Okay, you can put a comma here, otherwise you can drop it, and then in the address part, the manager, then you should mention the bank to which you are writing the letter. The manager, SIDBI, Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow, Uttar Pradesh. If you know of the pin code, then you can mention the pin code. Otherwise, just drop it. So friend, this is all about the address and the salutation part of the business letter. Okay, so hope you have got all these 3 points. Now comes the subject part. Friend, in the subject part, what you need to write is the purpose of the letter. Okay, so this part, the subject part, must be concise. It must not be lengthy. It must have clarity. Okay, and according to the subject, the content goes. According to the subject, the body goes. Okay, so the subject must be very much precise. It must be clear enough. It must not be lengthy. Okay, now there comes us the salutation part of a business letter. Friend, in the salutation part, you write dear sir, dear ma'am. Okay, and if you don't know the gender of the person you are referring to, then you can mention dear sir or madam. Okay, in this way your salutation part of the business letter is over. Okay, now there comes the most important part, body. Friend, the body must have clarity. It must not contain any unnecessary words, unnecessary statement. You can start the letter abruptly, without maintaining any other kind of formalities. The body will fetch you a better score if it is properly arranged, if it is grammatically very much sound, and it must be satisfying. It must satisfy the purpose of the letter. Then your body will definitely fetch you a better score. Okay, and there comes the complementary clause. Friend, the complementary clause comprises the ending note of the body. Okay, and the complementary clause may comprise thanking you in anticipation. Okay, thanking you in anticipation, provided that the letter has not been written as a complaint letter. Okay, if you want to have support from the person you are writing to, then this one is to be mentioned. Otherwise you cannot mention this if you are writing a complaint letter. Clear? And along with this particular expression, you may also mention faithfully yours, faithfully yours. You must bear in mind that you have not to put an apostrophe after yours. Many candidates commit this kind of mistake. Please be aware of this kind of mistake. Okay, you can also mention yours faithfully, yours faithfully, comma, and then there comes the signature part. Signature part of the letter comprises your initial. Okay, and your, if you want to give the designation, then you can also give your designation, such as proprietor of this and that. And finally comes the enclosure. Okay, friend, enclosure means the documents to be put in support of the business letter. Suppose you want a loan from the bank, then the bank tells you to enclose some particular documents, such as the KYC certificates and your business transactions, etc., etc. Then point wise you mention all those documents, so that your letter must be clear from every angle, and the reader of the business letter must come to know of the purpose of yours, and in this way your letter will become highly effective. So friend, this is all about how you can deal with a business letter in a very effective manner. Now friend, let's take an example of a business letter. Okay, friend, on the screen you notice our letter topic. The letter topic reads, you want to start a small business in your area, and for the business you require a loan of rupees 10 lakh under the SIDBI Trade Finance Scheme with a maximum repayment tenure of 60 months. Write a letter to the manager requesting for the loan. Friend, this is highly formal, so unnecessary words must be avoided. Now let's get started how you can deal with this kind of letter. Friend, as I have told you in the very earlier that first of all date is to be mentioned. However, you can mention the date after the address part of the letter. Okay, here also you can mention the date. Well, the date is to be mentioned first, and then there comes the reference. The letter is to be referred to whom? It is to be referred to the bank manager. Okay, this is the reference part. And then address, SIDBI Uttar Pradesh. Yeah, you can mention the details of the address. Okay, you can also mention the pin code if you know of, otherwise simply leave it blank. Okay, just put a blank space here, and in this way your address part will also be over. Friend, as I have already told you that the subject part must be very much concise, it must not be lengthy. So here I have used a very concise subject, request to sanction loan. Okay, now friend, there comes the body part. Friend, as I have already told you that the body must be framed properly, because it is the most important part that will help you fetch a better score. Friend, it must be very much concise, it must be clear, it must be conveying the purpose of yours. So unnecessary words must be avoided. It must be convincing. If just imagine that you are the bank manager, and you are going through the letter of your customer who is seeking for a loan, and if you are convinced to know of everything in a very clear cut way, then the sanctioning of loan will become very much easy. In this way you deal with the body part of the letter. Okay, the body part of the letter reads, please find with this letter my application in the appropriate form for a loan of rupees 10 lakh under the SIDBI Trade Finance Scheme with maximum repayment tenure of 60 months. As you have noticed that I have put the content of the letter topic with a little difference. Okay, this will be dealt with in the very first paragraph, and in the second paragraph you should deal with everything in detail. You should give the details of the business firm of yours, and the nature of the business of yours, and the location of the business firm where you are going to start your business, whether the area has the potential to attract customers or not, whether your business is highly convincing, whether your business is going to be promising or not. So each and every aspect is to be taken into account. Okay, keeping this in mind, I have framed the second paragraph as, permit me to state that I am going to start a small business of Banarsi sari in my well furnished house. Okay, this is one convincing part, well furnished house, because the bank will definitely notice whether the business is going to be started in a well furnished house or not. And the second important factor is whether the business is there in a very promising area, in a very cream area or not, where customers come very easily, and they can have a very good purchase. Okay, so this one is to be dealt with properly. Okay, so, again let me read it out. Permit me to state that I am going to start a small business of Banarsi sari in my well furnished house located in the hub of the Kanpur city. This is my second business setup. Okay, and if you write this, then it will be more convincing, because the bank will definitely come to know of the background of yours. Okay, whether you have already taken some loan or not, and what is the civil score of yours. Civil score means a credit worthiness, whether you have repaid your loan timely or not. Okay, so each and every aspect is to be gone through, and on the basis of that the bank will sanction the loan. Okay, so this paragraph also reads, this is my second business setup, the loan of which was granted by your reputed bank 4 years ago. The loan repayment was done on a regular basis, and so my CIBIL score is good. Okay. In addition, I have been a credit worthy customer of your bank for more than 10 years. This is the third convincing factor, okay, that you should mention. Please, friend, don't forget to provide the bank manager the hooks. Okay, with the help of those hooks, he will get convinced to give you the loan. So the next hook I have mentioned here, my business transactions are good enough. Now, friend, in the third paragraph of the letter, you should write, considering all these, you are requested to sanction the loan at the earliest. Okay, this is so simple. I have attached my last 2 years business transactions, friend. This is highly mandatory. Bank will definitely check whether your transactions with the bank are robust or not. So you should mention this one, and your business transaction must be enclosed with the letter. Okay, and my annual turnover with this letter. Okay. However, the bank will definitely come to know of the background of yours, the transactions of yours, and the annual turnover of yours, whether everything is okay, whether your CIBIL score is good enough or not. However, these are the things which you should mention in the in this particular letter. Okay, and in fact, you want to get support from the person you are referring to, so this particular phrase is to be mentioned, thanking you in anticipation. Clear? And then this is the closing part of the letter, faithfully yours. As I have already told you that your must not take any apostrophe. If you put an apostrophe here, then it will go wrong. Okay, now your signature will take place, and then the business entity of yours. Okay, and finally you should put your enclosures. Okay, in the enclosures, whatever you want to enclose should be mentioned point wise. In the very first one, you have given the business transactions. In the second place, you have enclosed the account details or something like that, and the KYC details or certificate you should mention in the enclosure part. So friend, this is all about dealing with a business letter. Hope you have already come to know of all the details of a business letter. Wishing you all the best.